I just realized that my audio was off. Did you guys hear anything that I said? I apologize. I'm going to start over. Hello, everyone. I'm using a new system for audio, so I apologize. I'm supposed to push a button to get started. So let's go again. Good morning. I'm higher vibrations, and so are you. Welcome, everyone. I said hi to everybody that had commented already. Um, and so I'll say it again. Hello to everyone, and to answer Vanya's questions where I was just getting started. Um, it is and has been a very, very charged week. There's been so many more. Um, it feels very much like a Lionsgate. That was a conversation a lot of us are having. Thank you, Vegan Vixen, for telling me you can't hear me. I'm sorry about that. Um, yeah, it's just I'm not a techie person anymore, and so when I do try to be techie, sometimes I struggle. So, is April going to give us a break? My joints felt as though they were going to tear apart, says Vanya before. So, yeah, the joint thing is something important to talk about right now, just for a moment, because there's a solution. Um, we talk about how in all of these different spiritual conversations, and you can find it in all kinds of places. It's in the Emerald Tablets, it's in different religious texts and stuff, talking about the movement of density. Sometimes it's called shadow, sometimes whatever it's called. That's what they're trying to convey, is that they're and the corners and the sharp turns is where we'll find those kinds of things. That's why when we sage or we're cleaning our home energetically with sound bowls or whatever, we're noticing the corners need to be cleaned off the more than other places. That's kind of where it hangs out. Also, those who aren't in the awakening experience over the course of my life, they will notice. I'll go in and I'll clean their house. I used to do this whole thing. I'd go to someone's house and I'd clean their kitchen. People don't tend to clean their kitchens, and I'm a water person, so I don't mind doing it. And while I was doing it, I'll be raising the frequency. First thing that they'll notice when they come in the house is that it looks to them like I had just cleaned their house. Like the corners look empty. They notice the density is there. They notice that that's a problem or feels like a claustrophobic sensation. They just don't realize there wasn't physically something there. So the same is true for our joints, not just our knees, our shoulders, our elbows, wrists, ankles. I'm noticing a lot with the wrist and ankles right now. Um, and what that is that when we're pulling away from the density, it becomes aware and kind of stuck in that spot. Not stuck forever or anything like that. It's just that last hair with the band-aid, you're like, oh man. So it's moving, okay? Um, I don't actually expect any kind of relief to occur in a way that I think that you're saying. It's definitely going to change. These ascension symptoms are going to move and kind of focus in a regular way for a lot of other people that are just noticing the same kind of things as we go. We're getting closer and closer to Lionsgate. Also, the summer solstice. I bring up Lionsgate earlier and earlier every year because I'm noticing it. I'm noticing the energy of it earlier and earlier every year. So it's kind of fascinating. Um, Hello, Mother Nature 61. Vegan Vixen, so tired and horrible up. So stomach, yeah. Oh my goodness, my stomach was driving me crazy for a bit. I found a solution. So we are having a lot of like chakra upgrade kind of stuff happening, right? And so when that's occurring, we tend to have a physical sensation in that area, and often it's uncomfortable. There's some type of a movement occurring that's causing it to be not as awesome of an experience as it can be. And so focusing on that specific chakra helps. Just as I started to need it, my friend gave me this, and anything that has to do with a chakra you're noticing in like color and things like that really help. So just focusing on that particular chakra area for you. For me, it was both my solar plexus and my sacral chakra. So the golden yellow as well as the orange one. So and then as soon as I did that, I also started to remember to drink orange juice more. Again, I'm always called to drink orange juice these days. Typically at 3 a.m. when there's spiritual activities happening, all of a sudden I want orange juice. I went and got some more things changed. I got better. I feel a lot better. It still feels like stuff is moving, energy's moving there. It's like before it felt almost like constipation, except there was no constipation occurring, which is another symptom. Frequent bathroom trips. We're purging. We are purging is emerging, people. Like it's so much purging right now that it feels kind of a little like like that's a little overkill kind of thing. But it's just what needs to occur right now. So we're moving a lot of stuff through our bodies. Many of us are noticing appetite stuff as a result. So like the nausea kind of thing, as well as just simply lack of appetite. Um, maybe feeling hungry then when you get to that point when you're like, you can't find something that looks edible, Um, that's happening for a lot of individuals. That's just part of the ascension experience altogether as well is changing our diet. We tend to, slowly move away from a more processed, like city diet into something that's a little bit more clean and healthy and over a period of many years in most occasions, with this awakening experience. So listening to our body is the most important tool that I've learned. Our bodies are constantly talking to us and telling us what needs to occur, as well as certain areas of our body, certain organs and things like that. You can look it up. Just any internet search engine, typing in what emotion related to, or the emotion of, and then fill in the blank. There's so many beautiful, awesome resources out there on the internet to guide you in those directions. A lot of this, like acupuncture kind of websites, will be the ones that typically know what that means. And so that helps. Um, and then also when your body is choosing to not enjoy something, for instance, having like um acid reflux kind of stuff, for the longest time I just knew, oh, that means I need to make sure that I have like some Rolaids nearby or something like that. And later on becoming a medication of an anti-acid. Um, anyway, instead of simply going, oh, my body doesn't want to eat that, so I should stop eating that, and I have slowly omitted things, though. Please don't feel discouraged or like you're doing anything wrong if you go back on what your chosen ideal at this moment is. Many of us are. I've talked to lifelong vegans or lifelong vegetarians, at least, who had recently, not too long ago, all of the sudden, a lot of people at the same time, in fact, or at least close to the same time, suddenly wanted to eat meat. They were finding themselves craving meat, and so allowing ourselves to just go ahead and engage in whatever our bodies are asking us to do. And so that's my biggest tip. Over time, you will learn how to have a dialogue with your body. From my experience, I found that I kind of taught my body to not trust me because I wasn't going to listen. Like, my body was thirsty, so I ate another donut, kind of thing. And to those, that distrusting relationship is similar to, receiving a child from a broken home, and slowly teaching them that they can trust you, that you're safe. And then we start to discover this communication. I find that I actually get static electricity shocked on foods that I don't, my body doesn't want. I notice it specifically with certain kind of produce, or produce from certain places. Um, and often later on, they'll say there's a recall to that lettuce or something like that. Um, Anyway, but the most easy thing that I found was standing before a food and asking, "Do you want this?" I'm asking my body. I'm opening up a conversation, and um, I will find that if I want it, my body wants it, I will lean toward it, and if it doesn't, it'll lean away. And sometimes it's a little, it's not as extreme as you might find, and in other times more extreme than expected, like almost falling into the food or away from the food. So keeping that in mind, a lot of these things will be easier when we know it's what our body's trying to tell us, because our body is guiding us too. So so tired. Oh, yes, I said that. Um, okay, so Kimberly, haha, I thought it was me. Uh, Oh, sorry. Oh, you thought of the yeah, I'm so glad that I'm sorry about that. There's a mute button on this thing on the tip, and I forget that I'm supposed to click it. So, um, Deb says, love, peace, and light to all. Welcome, Deb. Thank you for joining us. Jackie, thank you for coming. Um, Esther says, hello, dears, from Hungary. I wanted to write that maybe I am the only one who can't hear you. Oh, let's see, let's catch up. Okay, I'm glad. Thank you all for telling me that. There is a lag that they do in these lives now, so I don't get to see your comment until like I think almost a full minute. I can't remember. But I really appreciate that. Thank you. Hello, Jeff. Welcome. Jacqueline says, I stay tired and have stomach issues. Also, I'm itching around my waist and back. The itching thing, that is that's a big deal right now. A lot of different kinds of skin sensational stuff. So, sensation stuff. One thing that most people are noticing is to the actual appearance of some type of a rash. Um, I was having it too in like clusters, specifically on different parts of my legs. It was just bizarre. And then also I was getting it around my stomach area. It just kind of looks a little bit like, I don't know, little red dots in some occasions. Some people have reported that too. Um, and that often is very itchy. I My answer to that was I started to find oil, like all kinds of different oils. I was noticing that my body needed more oil um, on the skin, and a lot of people are reporting skin stuff as well as strange sensitivity to skin on their skin, feeling almost like a light burn in just different areas. Um, that's become really common. I can say that as we are taking in more light with solar flares, with the upgrades, with all the stuff that's happening, our largest organism, which is our skin, will be the most affected over a slow, gradual amount of time. Itchiness is in this way, I'm actually being guided to say, is for you specifically because due to healing, that there is some type of underlying thing that is healing through, and so that and I remember that happening for me too. You know how it's itchy when it's healing when you have a scab or a scar building that underneath there. So for you, I'm guided to tell you that. Um, Thank you for your question. Kelly says, thank you for this lovely community. You're welcome. Thank you very much. I've been having a lot of crawly sensations on my head and feeling of static, like my skin is crawling, but in great form. Oh, that's really cool. I'm having that. A lot of other people are having that too. Um, Usually the specific area of the creepy crawly feeling, it's not creepy, but I don't, that's just how people um tends to have to do with that area of your body kind of connecting to a higher frequency. I've noticed it as well. It happens in body groups, it seems like. Typically top of head starts first or the back of the head. Sometimes the temple area, and then it'll kind of evolve. Often not long after this, you'll start to feel it on your cheeks and your neck. This is like almost like a lovely bubbly energy that does feel really good. So whatever your experience is, knowing how it feels really helps you to discern if it's lovely or not. So, but most of the time it is. It's very awesome. It's really cool. Another comment about skin. We are in a specific window right now that these ascension symptoms seem to be increasing while we are moving into this place of accelerated healing. And I would say that more than not, most of our ascension symptoms that we're having these days or on a regular basis is some type of healing that's occurring for us. So just keeping that in mind, often knowing the reason for something helps it to be less impactful in a negative way. Esther says, yeah, crawly sensations the whole week and vibration. Yeah, vibration. Please excuse me one second. Excuse me. Um, Vibration of the energy moving through a lot of that's the most typical sensation that people will feel, though usually most often it'll be in the core. So we'll feel the core first. And then a lot of times, eventually, it'll feel like a highway of energy as the conduit that you are, sending this, helping this channel of light move through, as well as things that have been on this plane, on this earth, that are not completely in harmony and in sync with our intention and our vibration here, have a need to leave. And so there's also things moving up and through us, and so it's kind of like a cyclical energy conduit that we are. And so often that's what the vibration sensations are. um, so it's something to keep in mind. It's really cool. And the more that we do it with intention, I've found for myself, the more lovely it feels, the more calm it feels, and like the gratitude that is released from those who are being released is, that's spiritual service crack right there too. I mean, it makes everything worth it. um, Knowing too, before doing that, to use your intention, your ability to say, this is what I'm declaring to do right, I'm going to do right now, kind of thing, bringing in, your team. So it could be the archangels, it could be specific archangels, your higher self, your guides, God, whatever, and presenting that space of love and protection and light for yourself, and then allowing it to just occur while in kind of a meditative state. It's really cool visualizations when I go into my mind's eye and am able to truly see this energy moving. It looks kind of like, um, it's, as it moves through us, it's really, really bright. And then as it comes out, it's almost like a volcano in a way. It doesn't fall down, that as it funnels up. And the same is true for as it when it goes down, it's very tight and then just goes. And that amount of light condensed in such a small space often will cause that sensation of vibration. And then the other point to be made, we're doing a lot of transmutation. And when we use the violet flame in a violet flame healing meditation, often we will find a neurological response will start to twitch and move and vibrate as these energies are being transmuted and elevated. So there's a few different causations for that occurrence. I find it to be very fun and cool, though on occasion it's so strong, the vibration that's moving through my body, and it feels really amazing. Um, my difficulty is occasionally it'll happen when I'm, about doing my day, and sometimes the vibration, the amazing feeling of it will be so pronounced that it'll cause me to um, have a private moment and public. And that's very interesting. um, so I have learned to present myself on purpose at different times in order to avoid that occurring in a public setting. And that usually helps. It feels kind of like a tea kettle. It's going to it's gonna do the steam, it's gonna make that happen. And so when I do with intention where and when I want it to happen, it helps. All right. I've gotten way off track. I'm sorry, I haven't read all of your. Okay, let's catch up. I lost everybody here for a second. I jumped all the way down. Okay. Um, I think I was at, yeah, okay. Mariette says, finally, the depression disappeared. Yes, what a relief. Yes, it's gonna come back a little bit, just to let everybody know. And it's not even really depression. It'll be that sensation when it comes back. Notice that it's leaving. It's on its way through. It's like hi bye. So allow yourself to know that, and that will help. That always helps me to stay in that higher frequency space. Um, and while that's occurring, I'm so happy for you that you've also felt that elevated experience. Um, okay. Vegan Vixen says, anyone got the chills on and off? Yes. Um, Hot cold flashes, chills, weird fever like sweating, like literally thinking that you were breaking a fever and not at the same time. We're doing some crazy healing right now, guys. It's crazy awesome. And the amount of healing that's occurring is causing us to have a lot of this kind of sensation of like, I always find that and it took me a while to find out what was happening because usually you have heart palpitations, which by the way is a really common ascension symptom right now, heart palpitations and pretty strong ones, in fact. Um, um, though I'll find often when I am having a heart palpitation that an area of my body somewhere is heated up and then cools off and then heats up a lot sometimes. And I would say more of the frequently than not, there'll also be some type of a muscle spasming, twitching, not like a Charlie horse, but just like something going on there. And then I will find very soon in the future that this area of my body was completely relieved of some previous discomfort. We're doing healing. We're doing self healing. And so as we do this, we're going to have some weird sensations. A lot more people are having occurrence with at least recollection of interaction with ETs that are helping them in this way as well. ETs or higher beings of light coming in and assisting them and in a way that's elevating them and helping them into some higher alignment space. So it's pretty cool. Um, Tanya says, "Hi, everyone. Hello. Welcome. Mother Nature 61. I've been having lots of knee and low back pain, thirsty, dry mouth, and chills." So the back has been a thing that all of us are having right now. It's kind of goes along a lot with what we're talking about with the energy conduit that we are. Um, we've already done this a couple of times, I would say, at least I have, and a group of individuals also. Um, and when this occurs, the it feels like it's popping off almost, and it just sore. This is that movement of that energy. And so it's kind of asking us to provide the intention of aligning our chakras. And one of the cool things that I've been trying lately, a little bit more than not, is actually shifting where my chakras are in alignment for what they're supposed to be. For instance, so bringing the emerald green of the heart chakra to the throat chakra, and maybe just temporarily when I'm moving things and allowing them to be moved, when they go back to where they belong, it feels like they click in place better and they're able to move more efficiently. And that relieves a lot of those symptoms of the back discomfort. So just something to keep in mind. Others I've talked to recently have been using a lot of crystals, following a crystal like a wand or something down their spine, laying out crystals where they can lay on top of them. Um, with the intention and the charging of them. It's been really cool to hear about these different um, solutions that have been coming up. Above all else, I would say the most useful tool is to go outside barefoot, even if you're on the sidewalk. Like, you know, most ideally would be something like the grass or the soil or the sand or, in the ocean or river or something like that. Though if you can't, concrete's fine. That's really helpful for that ionization experience that we're all needing to have right now, that movement of the stuff that we don't need in our bodies and just all that stuff. If you can do this in a nature place, it's even more useful. And going out into nature is one of the best ways to recharge ourselves and to find that alignment. um and let's see. um Coco Coco Del says, Feel all over. It is so true." Yeah, it's crazy. And as it's moving and shifting, notice it's I don't know if you want. It's fun for me to notice that once I pay attention to it, then it starts talking to me. Does that make sense? So, like, if I start paying attention to a movement or a certain way things occur, then all of a sudden it starts telling me more about it. As it happens, it's kind of cool. All of a sudden, it just understood, and so that's something that validates and assists me a little bit. So just ask in, and or just even say hello to the experience. It sounds silly, like a little imaginary game with your friend kind of a thing, but it really works. It's crazy. So I don't know. Mia says, anyone picking up energies, entities from 3D friends and others, feeling tired after doing groceries. Yeah, okay. Yes. So we are past the precipice, meaning we're now in and past the threshold. full on in the building or outside of whatever into the Great Awakening. Like it just happened. It just happened. It was so cool watching it and experiencing it, but we're here now. Like we've been slowly and gradually moving into this place. Like there's this locking in. Okay, so now everybody who is incarnated here, who are not filler people or NCP kind of individuals, the holograms that kind of fill in the keep the place holding thing taken care of, um, are on this awakening. The end. We're all here. And because of that, a lot of some of these individuals are still very dedicated to their 3D life, like many of us were at some point in their early awakening, wanting to, participate and all that stuff, blend in or be part of and belong. I want to belong. I remember that was a really big thing. Um, Anyway, once they figure out that it doesn't matter if they fit in or not, then it will feel different. In the meantime, we're filling them. We're filling them full on. They are upset. They're freaking out. Some of them are, you know, realizing how many lies they had believed throughout their lives, the feeling of betrayal, just all of that, and that sensation of panic and nervousness and suddenly not knowing what reality is, what kind of stuff happening in such a large scale right now that it's almost impossible not to sense it. And so I'm totally, yes, they are on their way, and many of them we will see along as we go too. So, keeping that in mind, many of us are the only example that they'll interact with, at this time. We're brought into their experience to be the seed planter. And I'm not saying to jeopardize a relationship with somebody by, scaring them or telling them things. It's just being present and being part of it often will. Um, Plant a seed where they can go grow it for a short time. It's going to be pretty cool to watch as this understanding fully sets in. Jacqueline says, yes, yes, Easter. My palms are itchy also. Oh, Esther. Yes, Esther. And her palms are, so yeah, the palms. That and the soles of the feet as well. Those are two areas. So those are four chakras that are fully coming online. I found for me, like a lot of us don't even realize what we are. Like we have some type of amazing skill set we're just not aware of, and then we become aware of it at some point, right? Um, and often most of us are actually healers. We really are healers, and so you see examples and Hollywoodized versions of what occurs and stuff, and in some cases, some of those examples are close to true, or an example of something that is true. However, what I'm talking about for most of us, especially when we're first coming online, is a balancing of the energy that we're causing just by being in the presence, an elevation of the energy. Um, the spell of smiling at people as you pass them. Let me say that again because it's really important. That's a spell. It's not a bad spell. It's a spell of love. It's a spell of community, of giving of yourself just a little bit for the other to be elevated. And when they are lifted up, they will lift up others around them. I've seen examples of this before in some type of commercial or something like that over the years, though this is really true. And so as we're doing that, we're healing. We're really causing a healing. It changes over time and becomes something more like hands-on, kind of not hand-on, but like you can feel the healing coming from your hands. And that's usually when the energy of the hand starts to be something that's kind of fun. It feels pinprickly, kind of a little bit too. I started to get blisters, like right in the center of each palm. I'd get a blister here and a blister here. I got stigmata. It was like a big joke for a long time. Um, Around that same time, all of a sudden, I could feel my hands from a very far distance, just on accident. While I was doing dishes, it's like, wow, I just thought I touched my hands, but they're really far apart. Practice with that if you'd like. playing with the energy that you can feel between your hands, you're actually building energy there. And where you are at that time is what kind of energy it is that you're building. Your intention again, right? So allowing yourself to, you know, think of love, think of something that you love, think of how much you care, and things like that, and create this love ball. And you can actually hurl this love ball at people. It sounds so violent, but it's really a beautiful thing. My kid does that on the road to passersby, and most times they'll duck, not knowing what she's throwing at them. It's kind of funny, but you can tell a difference as they go down the road. Eric says, "Yes, really, I have been wanting to be at home. I don't want to go to the store or to work." Yes, that is such a common experience. I am on the same, yeah. Um, Thing about that is that it's really ironic if you consider it, that we are the ones that when we walk through, we're infecting people with the light, and at the same time, most often, I think I just heard a statistic yesterday that there is like 80% or something like that are introverts or people who are avoiding energy becoming introvert. Should be the title of the awakening experience, becoming introvert. And finding yourself more and more out of harmony when you're in a public place, being the sponges that we are in particular. Like these energies, these people, these those around us often will follow us too. They'll go to us. I remember making a video early on in my YouTube channel that was when I had first discovered this. I'll go into a store, and every time I'm going grocery shopping, the place is packed. It's almost difficult, like almost impossible. I mean, very difficult to get around to the aisles and places that I need to go. And then I'll go outside, and there's not very many cars. They all gather around. And it's not just me. This happens to most of us. They're just drawn to us. So the balance of finding yourself allowing yourself to be in your introvert self, as well as sharing that light. I found that the biggest trick of that is our natural frequency bubble is about 50 feet in diameter. So it's a 50-foot circle around your body. You're in the middle. That's when you're kind of my energy's closed in and not really in the big sharing mode. Though if I share it out, it can expand to double that size or more. Um, I find that more than that, it requires me to be more focused, like more of in a meditative state. Though when I'm actively engaged and looking at the shopping list and getting things, I can do that length, that width. And by doing that, I'm doing two things. I'm doing a form of energetic shielding. So I'm buffering, I'm filtering what energy comes into my experience, what energy I sponge up as the empath that I am. Hey, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I've been saying those numbers so much, like every day. Um, Anyway, um, and so you have that filter, that buffer, as well as you're sharing out farther. And it feels almost like instead of calling the little squirrel to you by holding the nuts, just like throwing them over there. They'll go get them, right? We're good. Like, let's get out of here, kind of a thing. So, it's an idea. It's something to consider trying to do, especially in a place like a grocery store. I've found that grocery stores and places that sell food these days, because all of the increase in costs and everything, it feels very much like going shopping during the Christmas season where everyone's in a panic, everyone's worried about spending, and they're put in an elevated place of duress and stress and panic. So what we're getting from them is amplified from their normal state. So it makes it even more difficult. Therefore, I really do suggest using that bubble concept. You can start it also too, just noticing the light spark in your heart center, watching it grow, expand out beyond the starting from that point, growing out and pushing all things out that aren't in harmony with you, and then it's encompassing your whole body. And you can actually do that over a car too while you're traveling, going on a road trip. It's really useful. It really helps. So it's really easy to do, and then it's really easy to maintain after you've done it. I usually do it before I leave. and then I grow it to the car, and then it's around us when we're in the store, and it does help. On occasion, it's made it so apparently I'm unseen. People don't. It's really. I don't even know what that was about, but that was really crazy. Not being able to be seen while you're standing before somebody strange. Um, all right, let me catch up. I'm sorry I went on so long. I can go on a little bit longer today if I miss anybody. I'm going to try to answer all your questions. Um, okay. Um, so Mariette says, is I don't know what that sciatica. I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. I don't know if that's an ascension symptom because I'm not sure what that is. Sciatica. There we go. Excuse me. I got it. Um, yes, actually, it is. And in strange places, very odd. Not sciatica is usually related to the spine and the back area. I'm finding I had it. I had it in my leg. Um, what I mean by my leg is the really low area of my leg. It was very strange. That's the neurological movement that is occurring in this. A lot of people have it. What I can tell you is that it tends to be very short lived. I think I had it for a week and then it was gone. Um, and people pop up and talk about it frequently as well. So, yeah, it is. Stacy, hey, good to see you, sister. Welcome. Um, uh, Marty Ann says, hello, big love to all. Sorry if I don't say your name correctly. I apologize. Um, Jackie says, hi, Pamela and gang. Hello. Carmen, hi, hola. I'm catching up to people in the beginning. I'm really behind, huh? Um, Yes, I've been scratching my palms like crazy, says Vegan Vixen. Yeah, and allowing that to move through. I found also really needing to do an exfoliation kind of thing. So like I'll use salt. People talk about sugar. I don't want to put any in my body. And so if I can avoid doing on the outside, I will. Um, so I use salt, like sea salt, and just a little bit of soap or something like that to kind of and just I don't know. It just felt like I really needed to do it as well as on the soles of my feet, and that seemed to help. I also noticed that it let energy start to kind of move out, like it felt like it was kind of stuck, if that makes any sense. So that's something to consider. Um, Jacqueline says, "I'd like the sciatica question answer too." Okay, thank you for saying so. Had it for almost 20 years though. I don't know about the long lasting one. Honestly, I couldn't I'm only aware of my experience and when I've talked to people recently. I think that there's a difficulty when it comes to a longevity ascension symptom because we've been having ascension symptoms since we were born. Like that's just it. It's just that they've been accelerating and becoming more and more noticeable as we become more and more aware and higher frequency. Um, and so when it comes to some of these lifelong things, or a very long time, it feels like to me that some of them really can be, but I don't know how to decipher one from the other. So I don't know if that helps you or not. Sorry. Um, Tanya says, anyone else experiencing huge brain fog? Yes. I can't even think. And also very forgetful. Oh, it's so frustrating. And then just like that sensation of, where you go into another room and forget why you went in there kind of concept only in every part of your life. It's really frustrating. Also, loss of vocabulary. Um, this is something that I had just recently gone through. And so I'm finding that I'm returning back to my center again a bit with the vocabulary thing. It was the most bizarre. It comes mostly, I think, when we are at a higher frequency space. We are reaching, as we're going up in our ascension, we're going like this, right? We're making our so there. That's where those dips are at. We feel that whoa, it's a dense day. Oh, it's a great morning, dense afternoon, great evening, kind of thing. Um, and so while we're doing that, we're also connecting to other stuff that we'd had before and then also pulling back. So I'm finding that what I'm struggling with though right now is just the forgetfulness and stuff. Losing my train of thought is always something that I do. I tend to wander, as you guys have, I'm sure, got familiar with. There's just so much to talk about. Each one of these file paths that are brought up. it's difficult to only answer a single question. I'll try to do my best. Um, all right. Vanya says, it's for Tanya. Vegan Vixen, don't forget to hit the like button. Oh, thank you, Vegan Vixen. Yes, thank you. I appreciate all of you who give support. It's been amazing. Um, Anton, anything twin flame ascension updates? So I have been noticing more and more that a lot of twin flames, not everybody, it's not even a majority, um, the twin flames that have found themselves are finding that they are in a place where it's time to break apart and to ascend on their own degree. The way that twin flames work, from what I've been shown, is that we both are ascending, that both being whatever, this one and your twin flame. So yourself and the twin flame are already ascending. We're already going. And then when we meet our twin flame, there's this static and conflict that is very uncomfortable often. However, it can be really cool too. And that static accelerates us up. And so you're looking at your own mirror in a lot of ways in this partner that you find, and whether it be romantic, a child, a parent, a friend. We have twin flames in a variety of different ways. um, and so that's what I'm seeing. I'm aware that we have at least, each of us have at least 7 twin flames incarnated with us at any given time. And so, and again, they're different. Some are meant for, to be other types of relationships in your life. I think that might be why people are pulling away, is that they're moving on to their next twin flame, or not. I don't really know. Um, I do know that it feels good. It feels like that there'll be relation and understanding, and a partnership of some kind, very short down the road too. It's really fascinating to feel into that. Um, Stacy says, I am feeling the need to move slower, take my time in order to follow my intuition better. Yeah, I am finding that as well. There's a lot of this soft energy coming in now. Um, for those of you who don't know, that there the short version is that all information and knowledge that was hidden, the main thing that has never been really provided is the druid knowledge. Druid knowledge is also fey folk, fey realm. They live together. That energy shares the same breath, for instance. So that's all coming up right now, and as a result, we are finding ourselves behaving as such, energetically, in the way that we speak, in the way that we share. Many of us who used to be very energetic are becoming very mellow, soft spoken, and that kind of thing. And it just is the flow of the energy, the light that is moving through. Allowing yourself to be able to do that is a very useful tip for anyone who can. I understand that life happens and we're in this 3D space, then in a way we're not really there anymore. It's more of an echo. But that's a long topic. Maybe I should do a video about that. And so, while we're in this place, just allowing ourselves to have the permission to be kind to yourself and to give yourself what it is that you need. Time. I um I now am somebody that gets up 2 hours before I need to do something, like, before I need to work or something. It's just what I'm needing. If I don't give myself 2 hours, then it just I don't know, I feel funky. And being somebody who got ready in 15, 20 minutes, it's kind of and I don't do anything extra, I just do it slower. Teresa says, yes, I've also been forgetful and a bit dizzy, vertigo, dizzy, lightheadedness, usually in the combo, a bit hard to focus the thoughts now and then. Yeah, yeah, there's a lot more coming in a automatic higher self kind of way that we're also getting. So we're distracted. Like, that's what I get, is that usually when that's happening, there's like a vague sense of an interaction that had just occurred. There's sometimes this is entertaining. This has been happening for a little bit. Um, is that sometimes I'll be in the middle of a conversation with somebody, and then all of a sudden, I'm having this amazing in-depth visual, like high and all the kinds of stimuli, um, kind of a conversation that will feel like it has lasted about 2 or 3 hours sometimes. And then all of a sudden, I feel the energy pulling away. I knew who it was. It's somebody that I'm familiar with most often. Sometimes it's energies from higher realms and stuff. Um, and they'll start to pull away and then they're gone. And then there's that moment I'm like, wait, where's that person at? And I'll have been in the middle of a conversation and that whole experience occurred in that amount of time. And so I believe and understand that this has been happening for a lot longer. It's simply been translated by me in past experience as just all of a sudden forgetting what I was saying. Because some of that higher stuff, that higher knowledge, once it's anchored in our body, it no longer needs to be kept in our library of knowledge. It's just part of us. So we don't really hold on to it the way that we normally do. Anthony says, third eye pulsing like crazy last few days. Does anyone know why? All right. So is this the twitching? Like, are you noticing a twitching, or is it actual like you feel your pulse, your heart beating in your eyeball? Um, the twitching has happened to a lot of people. Usually it starts on the top and then moves to the other eye and then underneath and then underneath. And then I found it to go to the mouth area. That was probably the most annoying. Um, the pulse, and that's just movement of density moving out. It's another way to say it is, you'll see that with most transmutation, especially if there's a lot to clear out. We'll notice twitching and stuff of the body. So if it's the pulse is being noted in everybody in different areas that are of focus. That's an area that needs to be focused on, that wants attention, to assist us with that specific chakra area. So for it to be your eyeball, that would be something to consider. What side? For me, from what I understand, and this is just my background, some people have the opposite belief, that the left side is the female side and the right side is the male side. So divine feminine, divine masculine. No matter if you're a man or a woman, we have both. And it's very important for us to find balance with those two divine genders. And so as that's happening, a lot of times it'll tell you on the side of the body that's happening. It's a message underneath it as well regarding that. So something to consider. Severe foot cramps. Yep. That's another one of the really common muscle spasms that people are having. Charlie horses, the muscle cramps in the foot. I found it actually strangely when it happened to me was the top of the foot. Though I had some previous injury that needed to be healed, and it's healed. Um, so I'm noticing right now we're back in that activation of the palms and the sole of the foot chakra space for a lot of individuals. You made it to that place. That's really a cool place. This is where you can start to really understand the energy. And when your foot stuff starts, I noticed at that point, that's like a check mark spot in your life. That the grounding stuff by walking barefoot, it works better and faster. It's really cool. Um, and when you are allowing yourself to make contact on the soil in that way, or the grass or the concrete or whatever it is you have available to you, um, I find that doing that within like almost meditation kind of intention changes the experience. Like I can start to see the energy, the light that I'm pulling up from earth and the stuff that I'm removing, and it happens so much faster. So that's really cool. Congratulations. Mother Nature 61. I could write a book of how I feel when I have heart palpitations, right? At least I know the energies are very strong when this happens. Right. Yeah, I'm with you. And the variety of different kinds of experiences that have happened over the years. Um, the first one I noticed the most strong was during the summer of 2020. Pretty sure it was summer 2020. Yeah, and we were doing a group meditation on a Guardian of Orion's channel, and I was in the audience while that occurred. many of us, and it wasn't just on that moment or that meditation, a lot of people had it like hours later, is that we had all collectively had this really crazy heart palpitation the first time that it ever happened. In that way, I was able to see how many people were getting it and that it was done on purpose. I could feel it in the bottom rib. It was so pronounced. And then the next couple of days, my experience, my connection to the spiritual space and the cosmos and the higher realms and the beautiful light beings and all that stuff amplified. Like it was like a turning on. And so um allow yourself to ask if you want to have experience slowed down if you're getting too much stuff coming in, as well as ascension symptoms. You could say, "This is too much," and I'm very visual, so I always visualize like a dial, and I turn it down from like 100 to 20 or to 2 or whatever it is I need at that time. Allowing myself to do that is giving permission to take care of myself, and you can't feed from an empty cup. So filling my cup back up by taking care of myself in that way. Um, let's see. Uh, Marion says, I had an intense breakdown on Friday. A lot of crying. Yeah, Friday was a day. Oh my goodness. A lot of crying, a lot of emotion. Can you share more on that, please? Sure. Thank you for your question, Marion. So I knew that day was a day that was of importance. I knew that it was a moment of crossing over. That was what I was talking about, that we're finally here. The experience that I had that evening and into the next day after the crying stuff, I felt it too. It felt like depression kind of a little bit too. And I hadn't sensed that in a very long time. So that was kind of a treat, to be honest. It was knowing that what negative stuff we're feeling now is most likely as our last moment of feeling it. It kind of feels like, oh, I should probably savor that. Then there was like the visual I was shown was a scroll being pulled back, pulled closed, like, and then being sent back up again, or opened back up, and it was like a reset, a restarting, a re when the scroll rolled up, it had words on it. It was a big scroll. When I'm talking like a planet-sized scroll is the visual I was given, and then when it unrolled again, it was blank, um, in a good way. It was like, "Oh, yay, a blank canvas," and we are having our history brought back to us. Our history is being corrected. And so a lot of this stuff that's happening right now is this returning. So it's already started happening, though it's accelerating, and it will continue to accelerate through the next several months and even years. Is there are a lot of amazing ancient artifacts and villages and places and pyramids. We have so many pyramids all over the planet. Like there's so many. We only took some of them. Like most of them are still there, and they're just not seen. People are going to start to see them more and more. Um, and they're no longer going to be hidden, as well as our vibrational frequency will need to be the same vibrational frequency as those objects. And then we'll be able to use those as the breadcrumbs that they are to remind us of the truth, of our truth. So something to be excited about. I'm really excited. Donna says, my entire body hurts, my left hip and back especially. Headaches, excuse me. I've always struggled to say lethargy, being lethargic and having fatigue, mood swings. We always have, I think all of us have like one word that seems, yeah. So the headaches have been new again. I haven't had them for a little while, and they've been back the past couple of days, really annoying, and feeling the same way. Feeling it's not really unmotivated. It's just that my desire doesn't meet with my body's energy backup, and so I just don't tend to do much of anything. It feels like right now. Um, the left side of your body, how I'd mentioned earlier, I find that to be the divine feminine area of your body. And so if you can tune into that, allowing yourself to connect to like goddess like energy, like to divine feminine energies, throughout. There's a lot of different energies that you can reach out to. I tend to find my interaction with Mother Mary to be really common these days. She comes in with Archangel Michael usually for me, though. Um, Having them both come in together gives you the same assistance. It's, helping you. Whatever you feel called to do, focusing on that, allowing that opening. Many of us have elements about ourselves that we have edited off and put someplace else because they were deemed undesirable for a variety of reasons, whether by ourselves, our peers, our family. And as we edit this stuff off of ourselves, they kind of get tucked away. They're the skeletons in the closet. That's the inner child that's left alone inside somewhere. That's the shadow work that needs to be done. And so often a prompting to do this is an experience we call a dark night of the soul, which is truly the light being shown on the soul. And this is just to um, illuminate those things that have been lost or forgotten, to remind us that they're there and they need to be addressed, and they really are real, very real parts of who we are. And as we do that, a lot of us go through a variety of other sensation and experience. And through that, most often we'll find a certain part of one of our genders, our divine feminine or divine masculine, has been edited away. Um, Whether or not, whatever your gender happens to be. I did find also too that I leaned very heavily for a good portion of my life on the divine masculine side, and so the divine feminine needed to be balanced. So I hope that helps you in some way. Mood swings. The mood swing thing I'm finding is like bouts of frustration and like, whoa, a lot of parents are reporting, and that the shame associated with feeling guilt and all that kind of thing about yelling at their kids, all of a sudden noticing this anger, this popping up anger. It's happening to a lot of people. So, and knowing it's not yours, that it's something moving through and beyond you is very useful. Knowing that it's not something about you that's coming up to say, I'm coming in to stay, kind of thing. This is an energy that's moving out and through. So allowing it to do just that will assist you. It's a fish that's swimming down the stream. We don't need to jump in and try to catch it. Let it go. Let it move. And it will. Um, I'm also finding that it's useful to expel the yelling energy in energetic form away from the children. So taking the time when you know it's kind of building up to move through. What I'll actually do is I won't really open my mouth. Like I'm not actually screaming. It's just that I will have all the energy moving out and away as I would if I was shouting. It helps me. So whatever's useful for you though, just to let it out. Most often, people find tears the most releasing, sometimes laughing as well. So, just keeping that in mind, that's another way to let it move out. Um, Fint says, one, I have had agony in my legs and feet for about 2 years, pinched nerve from a backfired death hex, extreme cramps in feet, and curling of my toes. Um, so, the leg stuff that can be moved through, pretty easily. Um, what I'm understanding from it is that it's an energy from the base of your root chakra area. If you allow yourself to pull energy up from Gaia, specifically, so a lot I'm it is important that you start by noticing your root chakra first, so pulling it up, letting it go through each one of your chakras up to God, and then pulling that light down from God, rejuvenated higher frequency light of love, down through each of your chakras. And then as it moves through your heart chakra, allowing it to flow through your hips and down through the rest of your extremity, toes, and stuff. That is a stuck energy thing that a lot of people have been having or been talking about that I've helped people with. It's really a simple process, just in a meditative kind of space. It will help you. Um, and then, yeah, and then the curling of your toes. So it's just the same. So allowing that to move through the with the other stuff with the muscle spasms and the all the Charlie horse kind of stuff, which I think is partly what we're talking about with the foot stuff, is that allowing that to fully happen. A lot of times we'll resist. That's a natural reaction to a discomfort, uncomfortable sensation. We'll recoil, and when we recoil, we're pushing away and pushing down, and so we're kind of like trapping it there. So what I'm noticing, I'm already going to be feeling it anyway, right? So feel into it, lean into the pain. Don't I'm not asking you to cause pain that's already there. Let yourself lean into it. If it's too much, if you're noticing that your heart rate is just going up too high and you're just feeling uncomfortable and stuff like that, take a break. Though when you lean into it, I find that that makes it go away. So it's like you're giving your permission, your consent for it to happen, and you're also using your own tools and your own energy to heal and to balance that out. And as a result, it accelerates and it's out, it's done. You're now able to start over because your cup is empty. You already experienced that. You fully, and so something to consider, Vince. Vince also says doctor doesn't know anything. You're you're getting old. Over time, I've figured extreme dehydration, potassium and magnesium deficiency, not eating enough, still feeling worse from the energies, drinking and stuffing myself. Um, so I'm finding for right now the most important thing is to engage the use of Epsom salt specifically for the reasons that you had discussed. Um, however, I everybody has their opinion, and I think that doctors definitely have some awesome stuff to offer. However, many of them aren't taught to consider all schools of thought to make that balanced answer happen. So, um, engaging in things like Epsom salt baths and just Epsom salt scrubs, like I talked about exfoliating with, you can use Epsom salt for that as well. Um, that's something that will help for those types of things. Um, and really just doing this intentional healing. So keeping that in mind. Um, Kimberly says, it just came through that the high grocery costs are intentional to attempt to keep people frantic, not ascending. You got it. Also, the arbitrary costs and fuels and calling them like exhaustible resources. And if you say that there's not very much of something, you can charge as much as you want and then keep everybody in fear. There's a whole rabbit hole we can jump down with that, though I need to wrap this up. Otherwise, by the way, we meet every week on Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that meeting lasts for 3 hours. It's a Zoom call that you don't have to have your camera on or you don't have to have your audio on either. And in this place, it's just a bunch of us that chit chat, like, talking about whatever, people on this awakening journey, some that have been doing it for their lifetime, some who just barely woke up. Um, and it's free. Um, every week on Thursday, the day before we meet, there was a time where I didn't do it till the morning before. So most often it's the day before. I will post the link and in my community section of this YouTube channel and let you know how to get to it. Um, that's really been a helpful, useful tool for a lot of people. There's been so many who have been left to believe that they're alone, that they're by themselves, that they're doing this without support and guidance, and that all of this stuff is made to question based on the the conditioning that we received growing up in this place, that we are taught to not trust ourselves and not trust any of these conspiracy theories or this crazy stuff, and therefore we spend very much of our time questioning our own sanity rather than following our intuition and allowing ourselves to heal. And so as we start to become empowered and stand in our truth, it's very useful to find your tribe. This tribe, this group of people, this beautiful light family that we have gathered in this space are people who have been on this journey that are here to help and that validate us, show us that there's some way, there's no way that you can um uh like trick somebody in that way. There, you can't write this stuff, is what I'm trying to say. Is like you'll go and say, "Hey, this is happening to me," and then bum, 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 bum. All these people are me too, and then having their own experience and having not given any detail, everyone else giving the detail that I'd experienced, and vice versa. This validation format has been so useful. So if you can't join our Zoom meetings, please try joining our Telegram group. It does the same thing. There's a large group there. We're over 200 people now. And that link is found in the description of this video and every one of my videos. If you're interested in the Telegram group, it's really a cool place. Um, I haven't been able to be on it a lot the past couple of days, but it's so cool. So consider it if you would. Um, and I do need to wrap it up. I'm just gonna. Oh, Jackie says I'm so grateful for our group. Oh, thank you. I'm glad. I am too. It's such a beautiful collection of beautiful, beautiful beings of light, and the type of service and healing that happens in these meetings is there. I don't have anything to compare it to. And it happens so naturally, like the flow of water. And all of a sudden, noticing that the water is circling you and healing, or this person and healing, and just happening naturally. We all are service oriented beings. We are service to others. That's the two poles, right? Service to self, service to others. And we are all service to others. It takes a lot of work to be service to self, from what I understand. I found that fascinating. Like Fight Club. I'm I'm not sure what I had just said, but that's hilarious, and I love that. Thank you. I love that movie. I love you all, and I hope. Oh, let me see. Beautiful reply. Yeah, normally it passes, and you will be lighter. Uh, you will be lighter in body awareness in the moment. Is a great help. Cool. I'm glad that something helped. Your Ascension symptom video stopped me from having a panic attack in 2022. Wow. I was really it was really rough. I was really rough, in a purge and PTSD at the same time. Thank you for that. Oh, wow, great. Thank you so much for telling me that. Oh, I'm so happy that I was guided to look up and finish reading some more. I love you all so much, and I'm so honored, and I'm just in joy for being able to be present, to be of some assistance. It feels like such a silly thing that what I'm doing is helping other people, and I'm very happy for that. Like, that is definitely my motivation. I love you all so much, and I hope to see you again soon. If I don't see you on the Friday Zoom meeting, I'll see you next Sunday here at the same time. Sending you all so much love. Aho blessings.